with the Instagram stories coordinator, if there's anything going on, they're the boots on the ground. They're running around campus, going to class. If there's someone dressed up in a clown suit handing out cookies, they'll most likely run into them. So they're able to kind of help grab that quick content on the fly.
Let's talk about the power of authenticity in social media and what it really takes to make your campus community part of the conversation. My guests today know exactly how to do that. Kayla Ohms from Purdue University Northwest and Eve Gachars from the Yale School of Management are two social media pros who understand that it's not just about pretty posts. It's about building trust, telling real stories, and engaging students where they are. Before we get into social media strategy, I want to know what's the most random or surprising thing that ever went unexpectedly well on one of your campus channels. Kayla, why don't you start?
So, first of all, thank you for having us. One that actually did really well was, I don't know if you all remember the solar eclipse that happened in
Yeah.
2024. So we had a really big campus event that day. First of all, we had tons of students come out, which was great, but I was waddling around with my big old pregnant belly, taking photos of students in the heat. And we just got some really cool photos of students like wearing their solar glasses, and I posted it online. And like, even though they were kind of spur of the moment, not the best in terms of quality, maybe even, it did really well. Like, we got a lot of great engagement on that from our students, which was really cool to see.
And how about you, Eve? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. So it's kind of funny. When I had first started at Yale SOM, I was trying to test the waters to kind of see, how much could I kind of push the envelope with what I posted a little bit. At the time, there was a trend going on, and I don't know if you guys know it, but it's with Lightning McQueen, and he just darts across the screen saying "ka-chow." And so I saw this meme template pop up on CapCut actually, and it was pouring rain that day. So I took a video of the front of our building, our glass building, Evans Hall, and I just put it underneath that template with the ka-chow of Lightning McQueen, and I put, "Did you see the lightning strike our building today?" And then the meme went across, and it just went totally berserk online. It was so funny. People loved it. But it was the first time I really tried out meme content with our socials. And it was just really fun to see people just laugh about it and have a good time and just definitely give this more playful approach to our socials.
That's awesome. I
That's
love
so
when
fun.
I love when risk taking pays off that way. It's not what maybe would have done before. You haven't done something like that before, but you put yourself out there and it works out. I love that. And so we're talking about engagement already, right? What the engagement that you've been able to achieve on some of your social media content. I want to start by talking about how social media has become often a student's first touch point with the institution. So knowing that, how do you approach social media with the prospective student in mind, especially given Gen Z and Gen Alpha expectations around social media and the experience that they're having online?
So it's interesting because Yale SWM, we're a graduate school. So we have this really broad audience base where we have the freshly just graduated from undergrad student looking to pursue an MBA to more of a non-traditional student that is, hasn't been back at college for 20 plus years. When it comes to engaging those audiences on social, the biggest thing that I always try to keep it tied to is our mission statement. And with Yale, it's educating leaders for business and society. And so, with the elements of business and society, I always try to approach our content with a playful and professional perspective, being able to balance tediously between the two. And especially when it comes to Gen Z and more of these social media savvy generations, being able to, again, create content that's fun and relatable and just humanizes the brand in addition to that more professional stuff where we're talking about our research and our faculty initiatives and the more widely recognized Yale initiatives that people discuss. So that's one way that I have in the past and currently try to obtain that and engage that audience.
I think this is a really interesting question because I was talking to my manager a couple months ago about how I feel like I could age out of social media eventually. Because how do you stay up to date with other generations that are starting to take over? And I think the key is, first of all, I'm chronically online. So I think I was reassured I will not age out of social media as long as I want to be in it. But staying up to date with what they're talking about, even if you're not following like those meme trends that Eve mentioned, if you know what's happening and how these generations are speaking, you can kind of tailor what you want to post to that and direct your messages towards them, especially on specific platforms. I know we all know TikTok is a big one that some universities can be on, and then Instagram is another big one that these short form videos are really taking like height in, and these Gen Z and Alpha really are on there the most. So I think that's key. Just staying up to date on trends, even if you're not posting them, but also just staying up to date on what's happening online.
It's so funny because I often teach social media marketing. And what I tell the students is, I do not care how much you get out of here knowing how to make an Instagram post or how to make a TikTok. I mean, those are great skills, but that changes all the time. Or how to set up an ad campaign, like that. Meta changes that, I feel like, on a weekly basis, right? I always say what I want you to leave with is how you can always stay focused on your audience. That way, no matter how the tech changes, no matter what social media channels come along, because no one could have predicted TikTok before TikTok happened, right? We didn't know that was coming, that you will always be able to stay in the game and that you're always going to be able to produce great content. It's as long as it's focused on your audience and you understand your audience, you're always going to be okay. So we spend a lot of the semester doing that. And a big piece that comes up is around authenticity. And I know the two of you this summer presented about authenticity in social media at the EduWeb Summit, and which can be a really great strategic advantage when people are doing that well. So I'm wondering, what does authenticity actually look like for your channels, and how do you do it in a way that also supports that prospective student audience and enrollment goals?
So for Purdue Northwest, and I know Eve can relate and might talk about it a little bit, but I am a team of one on my social media team here. What we usually do is we really keep track of events that are happening on campus. It's a great way to know where the students are and what they're doing, but prospective students really love to know that too. Like, if I'm going to go here, what's the experience going to be like? So I'm often going out on my own and taking photos or videos with students, getting a little bit of feedback on what they thought of the event to help with my posts a little bit. But truly just being out and about and being immersed in the culture of our campus helps me stay authentic with what I'm saying online.
Yeah, social media is not a stay in your office, sit at your
No,
desk all day
no.
kind of job. If you're doing it that way, it's
Yes.
probably not the right way.
Yes,
As much as
agreed.
I love my office, you're
Yeah.
right. You can't
Yeah.
stay here all day.
Yeah, it's a full contact sport.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think for me, kind of relating to that, so being a team of one, I've really started to reframe my perspective of authenticity too, because I feel like now it's almost like a buzzword too within marketing. It's like authentic, and started reframing it in a way to be individuality and what are specific aspects of your institution or your brand that make you unique in that sense while staying authentic. Things that I've done in the past is sharing not just about our student community, but our faculty, our staff, the staff member that holds the door and waves at you when you come in the building, the individuals that work in the cafeteria and help making our food and all of the delicious meals and doing all of the catering that goes on for events, and really spotlighting all of the faces within SLM, because it at the end of the day, of course, we love to engage our student community, but they're still part of the brand too, right? So being able to make everyone feel included and have that show the full scope of our authenticity and the individuality behind our brand, not just being able to create kind of user generated content, but content that really shows all elements of who we are at SOM.
So I feel like a struggle often is that we want to be able to show the real deal, maybe even have fun with it, because that works really well on social media. But how do you all balance doing that with the messaging that we need to send and put out about our institutions? How do we strike that balance where we're able to connect with the audience and engage and break through on the feeds while also doing our best to portray our institutions at all that they should be?
I think for Yale specifically, obviously, it's a very globally recognized university, and it can be challenging at times because there is really a lens, especially right now, on Ivy League institutions. So I always try to be very intentional about when, for example, we jump on a trend or when we decide to discuss a topic that may be trending within media, I always make sure that I'm giving a full or I'm getting a full stakeholder perspective of things. So if this alumni saw this, what would they think versus a parent versus a prospective student, and try and think, how can I tailor my content that can almost please all of these audiences in a way, but also, again, stay true to our brand. And whatever gets posted, it's not something that'll get taken out of context with a media outlet or a news channel or
Yeah.
reporter that is looking to kind of do more of like a hit piece on the institution.
That must be really hard.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's so fun because there's obviously, with being Yale, there's so many global connections and the network is so expansive, but at the same time, because it is an Ivy League and given the conversations and stuff happening with that, it's a sensitive institution to be in. But at the end of the day, it's really just making sure you are creating a crisis communications plan, being able to, again, know who to go to if something gets taken out of context or, there's a post that goes viral for the wrong reasons.
In a way, it pushes you to be more creative, I'll bet. Because I once went to a speaker who said, throw out this idea of outside the box. Actually, when you put yourself in a box, because there's constraints like that, you have to think more creatively to be effective and successful. So I think it's interesting in a way. But what happens when it comes to wanting to do maybe raw or more unfiltered, less produced feeling and looking kind of content? How does that work for all of you? What about you, Kayla? Like, how do you balance doing that when we're an academic institution still? So we have that to uphold, but that raw and unfiltered stuff is often what gets the engagement.
No, I completely agree. And I think it's hard to, like you said, like you're in a box, right? But how do you get out of this mindset that all you have to post are press releases about this new building that's being built or this new research that's happening? I actually did a post like 2 years ago, and it was off the cuff, and it was purely because I was taking photos on campus for my own social media. I love when I go on walks and I post pictures about nature, like the beautiful campus we're in, because we're in Northwest Indiana. And who knows more about Northwest Indiana than people in it? Not a lot of people come here, right? So I took a picture of a tree on campus and it looked really pretty. And then a month later, I realized I was walking by the same tree and it looked completely different. So I posted those on my university's channel saying like September versus November, I think, something like that. And it did so well. And I think I forget that there's this tradition to being a student here that like I see that maybe once a week, but these students are passing by daily. And you're again putting yourself in those shoes. What did I do when I was a student at what university I attended? So I think it's nice to keep in mind like what's happening on the communication side and like staying very delved into what's occurring. But again, taking a walk outside and just being like, okay, what is a little bit rougher around here, raw that I can post that might be fun for a student to see and really connect with.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes the best social media content is that random thing that comes to you, but you have to be open to it.
Yeah.
Right? When you're stuck in a content calendar and being very prescriptive, we're going to talk about this message on Tuesday, and then we're going to put something out that hits on this brand pillar on Thursday, that it doesn't leave room for the magic.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I like that. It's very true.
And speaking of the magic, if we're going to talk about authenticity and trust building and producing content that prospective students and families enjoy and it resonates with them, user-generated content is obviously a go-to. So I'd love to hear your perspectives on how you source user-generated content. What tips do you have for people who maybe that's a challenge for them? How can we find that best user-generated content and leverage it?
I have a couple bullet points that I usually reference to. So the first and most important is social listening and social monitoring. I'm also pretty chronically online, so I'm constantly reviewing our Instagram story tags, our mentions on LinkedIn. Those are our two biggest platforms, but just making sure I'm keeping an eye on not just the Yale flagship account and kind of what's going on there, but also what we're being physically tagged in and how people are engaging with our brand online. And I've gotten a lot of my use, I'd say maybe 80% of our user generated content that way. One of our best performing videos on our platform was a 6-second Instagram story that someone had tagged Yale of Women of them opening their admissions box. It was a student in France. And I saw this video and it was the perspective of them just opening it up and showing the handwritten letter and the surprises that we like to include in the admissions boxes. And I was like, this is exactly what every social media manager ever wants to see.
Like if you could dream up the perfect post.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what every admissions officer wants. Like it was perfect. So I just swiped up when I saw the story, messaged them and said, hey, we love this. Can we repurpose it and tag you in it? And they said, yes, emailed me over the original video. I posted it and it got just under 500,000 views. And, that was just a really easy, low hanging fruit way of getting some user generated content through social listening, on social monitoring side, on LinkedIn. When I see that we're tagged in something or someone's taking a picture in front of our sign and posting it, I'll comment directly on the post and say, hey, we love this photo. Could we repurpose it and tag you in it? And most of the time they say yes. So those are some ways that I go about it. And others is just directly asking your audience. So on Instagram stories, I'll put out a question that says, where are you interning this summer? And we'll get answers like Apple, Microsoft, what have you. And if I see any that, seem really unique or exciting or nonprofit work and such that aligns again with where we try and have our students go, I'll swipe up and message them and ask them to elaborate. And if it's something that they're interested in, I'll have them ask if they want to make a broader video or a content piece about it. So those are some of the ways I've done.
I love this. We've got 2 really great lessons. We have to get out of the office and we've got to be on social media.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you do both at the same time?
How do we do both at the same time? Without tripping and falling and breaking bones or something. Yeah. Yeah, I could just see us across campus trying to do these. We're not advocating you do both at once.
Right.
Disclaimer. So Kayla, what are your tips around the user-generated content?
So we actually don't do it as much as Eve does over at Yale School of Management, although she has very much inspired me since our session together this summer. I will say, though, one relationship I have found really key in my job is with our Office of Student Life. And there's students that are working for them that are at all these events. The past 2 years have started taking photos for the purpose of our main channels to send them to me. And every couple of weeks, I'll get notifications that they've uploaded like 5 albums to our photo shelter, right? And I go through like 500 photos because they take so many for me. It's great. But it's so fun to see what photos they've taken compared to what I might have taken, that I might have posed a little bit more, like really tried to get the perfect shot. And theirs are like completely from the student perspective. And that's what these students want to see, right? So that feels a little bit more along like the user generated side that we're talking about. So it's nice to have that connection with another department on campus to not only help me get content, but help do it from a student's perspective.
What other ways are you using students or student creators to help enhance your social media efforts?
One big way at Purdue Northwest that we've chosen to spotlight is through student social media posts. So every couple of months, I will reach out around campus to see who's around campus. First of all, I don't get to meet these students as much as I want to, but find out who can help me draft a post about a first generation student. And in the past, I've reached out, and our director of first generation student success has helped give me a handful of students to spotlight and interview. So within the past couple of years, PNW has really put a priority on putting students on the forefront of our social media site. So I've interviewed them for about 30 minutes just to gather their story and get some really good quotes out of it. But we've been able to utilize those and again, just put them on our social media so potential students can feel like, oh, that could be me. Like I'm a first generation student, and they're spotlighting them. They're there and they're a big piece of who PNW is. And that's just one example, but we've done other ones in the past for commencement, our graduations, or welcoming students back to campus, what are events they like to see, other stuff like that, which I love doing.
I love the idea of producing content future students can see themselves in.
Yeah. And that's key,
great.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Eve, what about you? Any tips around student creators and leveraging student content?
I think one of the ways that we found the most success is I actually have a student content team. They've all graduated now. I'm so sad. I need to get 5 new students, but I have specific roles and they are able to get paid to help us out on this content team. We have 2 student photographers, 2 student ambassadors, and then 1 Instagram stories coordinator. And especially with the Instagram stories coordinator, if there's anything going on, they're the boots on the ground. They're running around campus, going to class. If there's someone dressed up in a clown suit handing out cookies, they'll most likely run into them. So they're able to help grab that quick content on the fly and kind of what Kayla was saying, just have that more physical student perspective. As far as the more professional type of perspective, the student photographers are able to help capture events kind of again from the student perspective and take a look at the events and things that we have going on from a different lens. And it's not these super polished and professional freelance photos, but they feel human and authentic in a way. These great pictures, it helps the students add to their portfolio. And they're again able to kind of get different angles and different perspective without the lighting setup and the mic and all of that stuff that traditionally we would have.
I'll just add that at Sienna, we really like running social media ideas by students or showing them what we're about to post by students. They will tell it to you real, boy. I will tell you that. So I'll add that tip in for all of you. My next question is, I want to know what's your best like student-driven content that you ever had on one of your channels? Or something memorable?
I would say the best performing one was the one I shared before. That was the admissions unboxing video.
Yeah.
But other things that we've found have performed well, we have the Halloween meme that goes on. So when during the fall, obviously being in Connecticut, New Haven, it's just gorgeous, the bright orange fall colors and everything. So the students do the ghost trend where they dress up in the ghost costumes and just walk around campus. And we take the video and add it to that trending autumn song. And that's always something that it's just performed well. Again, it's humanizing the brand, it's celebrating something and showing some unique aspects about the university. We have 4 seasons and stuff like that.
I've just got to say that if Yale is putting out content with students dressed as ghosts, guys, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like we can have permission to have some fun if you're one of those schools that's feeling like you can't put yourself out there because you're, it's an academic institution or you have internal pushback. Gosh, send them to Eve's content over at Yale, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. And to add to that too, I think there's an impression with the Ivy League institution stuff that it's kind of more of this restricted or just very sophisticated front, but in reality our communities are so fun, they're so playful, and my goal is to really showcase that, make it feel welcoming, make attending Yale feel like an attainable goal, because it should be an attainable goal for everyone. So
yeah, let's come down from these ivory towers and humanize the experience on all of our campuses, whether you're Ivy or a junior college. There's opportunity all the way through. The one thing we can all say is we have great stories and great communities. We're so lucky to have brands that have those two things. And that's way harder to do maybe for a bank, right?
Yes.
I don't know. How about you, Kayla? Any student-driven content that really stands out?
Yeah, I like the idea of humanizing a brand. We have these traditions at PNW that we like to highlight, and one of them is actually called Pumpkin Week. So it happens in early October, and we have a variety of events at both of our campuses where students can paint a pumpkin to de-stress. And then later that week, they can throw the pumpkin off of our parking garage.
It's so funny.
In the past, I've attended these events, just to casually throw a pumpkin off a building. Why not?
Casually?
Right.
Well, if you're going to do it, don't do it casually, Kayla.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a missed opportunity.
So it actually has uncasualified a little bit, where now there's a slingshot. So you can slingshot pumpkin off.
That is serious.
I would like to come. Where do I sign up?
Again, it's the first week of October. Well, specifically we're throwing and slingshotting pumpkins. But in the past, I've gone and recorded some videos and had students do either the slingshot or choosing to see how far they can throw. But it's just like a fun little, this doesn't happen on every campus. And it's something students have truly started to look forward to and has a great turnout every year. And it's so fun to see the students tag each other in the comments, you didn't throw that far. Oh, wow, look at this person who threw it 2 spaces further on the, So it's really fun. And like, again, you don't see it on a lot of other campuses. So highlighting
Yeah.
something that our students get that they might not get somewhere else is really cool.
Yeah. Look for your special traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got
Although they
one.
might not be as special as throwing pumpkins off a building, but
Maybe we need to have some kind of competition for who has the
oh,
most special tradition that they're showcasing on social media. That would be so fun.
I like
would
that.
That would be really
that would be
fun.
great. I would just like to watch all of it. So if you have one, feel free to share because Kayla, Eve, and I are all about it. So make sure to send
Yes.
it to us. I've got one last question because a lot of the people listening are work in enrollment marketing roles. So any advice on aligning the social media content to, the admission cycle or just for working with admissions and enrollment to make sure that what's happening on social media is advancing toward those enrollment goals?
Absolutely. I think first of all, so I work in the marketing and communications office at P&W. So I am in I'm same building,
Division.
different floors. Yeah. Different division than the admissions team. So first of all, make that relationship, like nothing's going to become cross-functional unless you make it cross-functional. So knowing each other's names and where to email or phone call. I mean, I'm constantly emailing our international admissions person or one of the admins for the admissions team to say, hey, we got this message on social media. How should I respond? Because I'm not in your position. Like, how would you say it? So just making that relationship, first of all. And then I'd say really sharing calendars. Most of our admissions events are on our main website, but knowing what's going on is truly what helps me know how do I help push these events for their audience on our social media platform. If it's an event focused on College Bowl Sunday, that's might be more towards parents and like senior level high school students versus National Transfer Week. Do they want to spotlight that? How would I spotlight that for someone that might want to come to P&W? So I'd say relationship building and sharing events and calendars with each other is key for those two different divisions.
I know I said that was going to be my last question, but I'm going to throw one more out.
Of course.
And if the ladies don't want to answer, then we're going to edit this out. So I asked them like, what's the most surprising content that did really well? I want to know what's the most surprising content that didn't go well so that everyone else can avoid doing it. So do you have one that pops in your mind? Does it stick with you guys?
Yes, I have the scars. No, I bear the scar. No, one that comes to mind was one of our NBA students did a what's in my bag, and I thought it was really fun, quirky. The goal with it was to see if, show our incoming students what you can bring to class and kind of just, I don't know, I thought it was like a fun little thing. And it's a trend that goes on. So I posted it and it just did not do well at all. And I actually had an alumni reach out to me and was like, this is so unprofessional. Why are we posting? And I was so shocked. I just didn't realize it wouldn't resonate that well. But I guess it was a really great learning point for me because it was, again, good to understand, okay, I need to understand the full perspective. Why does an alumni need to know about a what's in my bag for an MBA student who's currently in school? So again, just being able to be mindful of how we're presenting online and understanding, again, when is the right time to jump on a trend and maybe when is it just like not really relevant or maybe something we should pass on for this time.
Well, maybe it's what's in my bag. I'd ask that alum, what's in your bag?
Yeah, right. What's in your briefcase?
Let's do it.
I want to know. What are you bringing to work?
Right. So same thing, Eve noted that she does this for Yale School of Management is posting like stickers on stories to get responses. We've done that and gotten no responses before. And I'm like, how do I make
I wanted to talk with you all.
Like,
I'm going to
I think
respond now from the
Thank
Yale
you.
Summit.
I
Someone gets an
I think I
answer.
did it around commencement where I was like, share your photos of commencement. And I'm like, okay, so no one wants to share their photos. So like, I think for me, it's how can I go about this in a different way? But at the time, I was like, I thought that was going to be easy. I thought people would
Help
just,
me out, guys.
put a
Come
little
on.
sentence, maybe a word, and then their photo. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, great. I got a photo of this graduate at commencement. But no.
Oh, that's too funny. But these are all things that we just learned from, right? And if we
Right.
didn't take the risks, we wouldn't get to the good stuff either. So you're
Yeah.
going to have some of these along the way. And, maybe next year, Kayla, you're just going to ask what was your favorite memory. And
Yeah.
try
There you
that
go.
one
Change it a
instead,
little
right?
bit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you both so much for being on the show. It was great having you at EduWeb and bringing the two of you together to sort of become new friends in higher ed social
Yeah.
media and present together, and then have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you. It's
you.
so great to talk with you.
Note to our listeners, make sure you're getting out of your office. All right,
Yes.
let's go for a walk today, but scroll social
But
media
stay on
after
social
the
media,
walk.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with a friend and subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you next time.